And a delegation of victims' representatives is heading to Havana now to join the peace talks, as some minutes ago a final agreement on that point was confirmed. Now, to understand more about this development of peace talks, we turn to our correspondent there in Colombia, in Bogota, Natalia Margarita. Hello there, Natalia. We are closing into the end of this victims' reparation point here on the agenda. What will be the role of the delegation of victims that we were just talking about, that delegation that's heading to Havana?
Well, in fact, spokespersons from both peace delegations in Havana have confirmed today morning that the discussion on this issue of victims' reparation and justice have finally concluded there, and that both parties involved have successfully reached an agreement on that point of the agenda. It is important also to remember, Cody, that this point of victims and justice includes 75 sub-points. So what they have just announced is that, in fact, both parties involved have reached an agreement on each and every 75 sub-points of this major point in the agenda, as is victims and justice. Now, the details and the full text of the agreement, it's going to be released tomorrow during a ceremony that it's going to be held there in Havana around 10 a.m. in the morning local time in Cuba. And that's the reason why 10 members of the victims delegations traveled today to Havana to take part tomorrow in this ceremony, where the details and the content of this agreement is going to be released to the public, Cody.
And we heard, Natalia, that the FARC has said it's ready to disarm. That seems like a significant development. How significant is it? And what are the chances that we could have a final agreement, or a truce rather, before Christmas?
Well, on the one side is the issue of disarmament. So basically what the FARC have said is that now that an agreement on the issue of victims and justice has been reached, so they are ready to start discussing the very last point of the negotiation agenda, which in fact includes the issue of disarmament. So that is basically what it is about. Now, having this agreement in the issue of justice and victims, basically the path is already paved to discuss the very last details of the peace process, which I insist include this issue of disarmament. On the other hand is the issue of a truce, but a bilateral truce we're talking about here, because we need to remember that the FARC has been successfully implementing a unilateral ceasefire since the 20th of July this year. So what it's basically at stake here is to see if the government is going to finally agree to reciprocate this unilateral ceasefire, so that for this Christmas we can finally have a bilateral ceasefire here in Colombia. We still need to see if this is going to happen.
That would be a good Christmas present for many Colombians there, a bilateral ceasefire. We certainly hope they can arrive to that agreement. All right, Natalia, thanks so much.
Back to you, Cody.